All right. Well, I don't know if that's going to be stable or not, but hopefully it is. So, here we are. I'm back. Here we are recording videos once again in the same car that I was recording videos in the last time, like a little over a year ago. And I don't know. Today I felt like was the day to start back recording, which is kind of odd. There was nothing really, the stars didn't align. Ooh, car is shaking right now. Car is shaking because it's bumpy, not because I have a bad car. But this was not some sort of moment where the stars aligned and, I just got some sort of burning bush sign that I should start recording videos again. I just think, I had thought about it, so I wanna kind of give some backstory, but overall, the long story short is that, I realized I had just been putting it off for way too long. And yes, I am driving while recording. I'll be okay. But for many of you who will probably be new to my channel, because I didn't have that many people watching before, it was probably a handful of people that were actually like watching consistently. But my name is Kevin Lucas, and I guess I should reintroduce myself. I am a guy that has I'm 35 years old, and I'm just a normal guy. To be honest, I'm going through, just as many, I'm not one of those guys that has like his life all figured out and has it all together. And, I go through my own set of problems. I'm also probably like many of you out there watching the news with bated breath, hoping that the government gets it right, because right now everything is messed up. And I am one of the many people that, didn't necessarily have like some sort of a savings or anything lined up. I don't have any investments. I don't own any businesses. So in one sense, while I wasn't affected as heavily as some of the small business owners, I still, was affected by, the job market. I'm an Uber driver. So this particularly is pretty stressful, because while Uber did have its heyday in the summertime when everybody was quarantined, now that the quarantine is over, we're dealing with the effects of it, A, being the slowest time of year, and B, it being the slowest time of year and nobody else has any money. So like Uber, the side gig economy almost exclusively is based off of the idea that everybody has the money to participate in the side gig economy. So when people don't have money for Uber, or people don't have money for deliveries, that's usually the first thing to get cut off, right? So in a good economy, Uber does great. In a bad economy, so that's the thing. But for me personally, I am just a normal guy that is a student of the Word of God, meaning the Bible, and I am also a student of life. And I just think now is the time. So to go back, I started recording videos in late 2018, early 2019, and I wasn't consistent with it. I think I kind of went off of the runner's high of just binge watching a whole bunch of Gary Vee. And at that time, I was, it's funny because he even mentions in his own videos that everybody is going to try and jump out and be just like him. Everybody wants to be just like Gary Vee because he's the cool, hot thing out right now. And, I did that. I was the guy that was trying to be, no holds barred, no filter. Like, this is just me and my thoughts. And in late 2019, I wound up rededicating my life to Christ. And so when I went back and I looked at the, the 9 or 10 videos that I did have out, like I said, I wasn't really consistent, but every now and then I would put a video out there. And when I was re-looking or revisiting the videos that I had put out there, it was not the image that I wanted to portray. Mainly, I did a lot of cursing, and a lot of, it wasn't just like I know Gary Vee cusses because that's him, right? Like, that's just how it comes out. And I'm not judging anybody for cursing on their videos or whatever. Like, my dad is probably one of the biggest potty mouths like you'll ever meet, but like, I don't doubt his Christianity at all, because he does more things from, I guess, looking at a religious perspective of things. He does more things in Christianity than I'll ever think to do. Like, I still am working my way up to being able to do like a 40-day juice fast, which he's done multiple times. So, I'm not judging anybody for cursing, but I feel like when Gary Vee does it, it's because it's him, right? That is his natural state. And for me, it wound up not being my natural state anymore. I could say at one point, I could, basically cuss to make a lot of sailors and Marines blush. And I was good at it. I was really good at it. But now that's not the type of person that I want to portray. And I didn't want that to be like, if people actually do start watching my videos, for them to be like, oh, well, he's a Christian, but he's got, all these cursing videos and stuff. And so, I just wanted to, I guess, kind of clean up the public image. It's really weird. It's kind of a complex situation, because I'm not doing it necessarily for people's judgment, but I am doing it for my own self-judgment, and just knowing that, that's just not the person I want to portray out to the rest of the world. So, that said, I deleted all the videos that I had up, including, and I'm kind of kicking myself for this, but it is what it is, including a video that I made early 2019 in which I said that everything was going to go to pot economically by 2021. Like, I was like, I don't know how to prove it. I was like, I'm watching everything go on, and I feel like there's going to be something that goes down that will cause 2021 to be the year of an economic collapse. And I wish I had kept that video up, because a year later, COVID happens, right? And it's like, even though, like, yes, the stock market did technically go down massively twice in 2020, I think the government reacted accordingly, and they tried to keep the ship afloat, where economically speaking, even though things are bad, it's not as bad as it's going to be. Like, it's about to be a lot worse. And I honestly do believe that. I'm not saying that to fearmonger anybody. I'm not saying that to be like, all right, everybody just wear your tinfoil hats. I'm looking at the fact that, everything that's gone on with the election and things like that, it's just not a good look. You have Congress there fighting back and forth, trying to get their lives together. They agree on the simple fact that Americans out here need help, that they need some form of support, that they need stimulus, that we're looking at, tens of millions of people that are facing eviction, but yet they can't agree on how to go about helping people, which I think to the average person that's going through this, like myself, the obvious is there. It's like, well, why don't you just give the American public more money? But I also understand that that's not how the game is played, right? If you give the American public more money, you also have to give kickback money to all these organizations that are lobbyists, and they're wondering where their piece of the stimulus pie is and all this type of stuff. And this is not, by the way, a Democratic or Republican thing. It is really just a politics thing. All right, everybody wants their people to be taken care of, and if there's not a stimulus that does not take care of their persons, then they are just not going to vote on that stimulus plan. And unfortunately, through all the arguing between mommy and daddy, the kids suffer the most. That's basically what is going on right now. And I think that as long as Congress continues to kind of go into this back and forth, instead of just saying, hey, we're going to take care of this and we're going to take care of the American people, things are only going to get worse. And my fear is that by the time they do come up with something, it is going to be too little too late. So that's one takeaway from this video, is to realize that the government is not going to save us. The government is not going to save us from any of this, all right? Like I've gotten to the point where I'm over the idea of a second stimulus. Like, I've almost prepared for it not to happen. And that's because of everything that's happening. It's just like, you know, it's going to get to the point where if it does happen, we're not going to, and by we, I just mean like the average normal person that's depending on a stimulus to come through, we're not going to see it. Like, they'll probably be like, oh yeah, they launched the second stimulus plan, and then like none of that money goes to the people that need it. It's going to go towards all these weird random, you know, we got to save the airlines, and we got to save the transportation industry, and we got to save the bus lines and all this type of stuff. It's like, well, what about the people that actually buy those? Like it, you know, there's no point in saving the airlines if there's nobody around to buy plane tickets. But I digress. I really didn't know where this video was going to go towards. Sorry, it's winter and I'm fighting my sinuses right now. And when you're growing out a beard, for some reason that somehow exacerbates that. I don't know if that's true. Don't quote me on that. Please don't fact check me on that. I'm just randomly going. But I say all that to say this. When I first started this YouTube journey, and even though I wasn't consistent with it, and I abruptly ended it and deleted all of my videos, I did not know in what shape or form this channel was going to go. And I was kind of struggling with I want to talk about Jesus, but like I'm not sure how people are going to take it. You know, so I was going to start more on the motivational side, because I know a lot about, you know, I've studied all the different motivational speakers you could think of, all the way from like the old school Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Les Brown, all the way to, you know, Tony Robbins, who of course is the ultimate. I've studied Simon Sinek, Gary Vee, and just various people that you may have not even heard of, Andy Frisella, Patrick Bet-David. You know, so I understand the thought process behind those camps. I've even studied oh god, what's that grumpy old man's name? Not Dan Locke, I like him too, but the other guy, the guy that trained Dan Locke, I can't remember his name now. Dan something or other. Somebody, if you're seeing this, put it in the comments. But like, I even studied him. I feel like he is an angry old man, but he's got some points. You know, people are getting soft in the world, etc., and that's why he acts the way he acts, you know. But I was going to keep it on like a motivational side, and then, you know, I guess eventually incorporate some Bible into it and whatnot. Now I have decided to go the opposite direction, and I'm going to make this channel very Christ-centered, and, you know, incorporate, I guess, the culture into that. So, you know, there are people that, so for instance, I'm not like an ordained minister. I'm actually working on that. So I'm going through various training at my local church to become an ordained minister. hopefully, you know, one day I'll be able to pastor my own church. But if that never comes, you know, I would still like to be in ministry in some way, shape, or form, just preaching and teaching the gospel. But, you know, I started really, when I rededicated my life to Jesus, I started really looking at the idea of, you know, different YouTubers who did talk a lot about Christ. And, you know, in just trying to find people like that, I found the likes of, you know, Mike Winger. You know, I found Ruslan KD. Shout out to Ruslan. I found channels like, you know, Trey Van Camps. I already mentioned Mike Winger. What Do You Mean? Acts 17 Apologetics. And just people who really are just like normal guys that you know, they all have their own various walks of life, but they've all came to Christ and they want to spread the gospel, and they, you know, they want to spread the love and the message of Jesus Christ through their platforms. And I started really looking like, hey, that is something I can go with. I was like, because I do know, even though, like I said, I haven't gone to seminary, I'm not ordained, I don't have any of, I guess you would say, like, man's qualifications to be a teacher or a preacher or anything like that. But I think this is a time and age where the people who are the least qualified will have the greatest impact on the kingdom of God. I think it is a good way to, you know, it's that old meme that used to go around where they say, you know, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. And so I'm just really stepping out of the boat here. I'm stepping out on faith that, you know, I'm one of the people that God qualifies, that he's called and he qualifies. And that's not to say that I'm not willing to put in the work. Hold on, let me see if I can block this sunlight here. And perfect. That's not to say I'm not willing to put in the work or the study, or even the training, like, you know, the training to be able to lead people from a pastoral sense. I just think I'm going to take more of an alternative route to doing that. So with that said, this channel, like I said, is going to be very Christ-centered. I'm going to also incorporate things that are going on in just the history of the world. We're living in history right now. And, you know, I would like to share my thoughts, you know, throw my name in the hat, so to speak, as far as, you know, how I feel about the situation and how I look at different things through a biblical lens, like politics, like, you know, social culture, as far as like what's going on in the rap industry. I don't think I'll be as detailed as somebody like a Ruslan, because Ruslan, he lives in that industry. Like, he lives in the hip-hop industry. He knows who all is coming up in the underground. He knows how the game goes. He knows the different managers and stuff to talk to. And so, you know, respect to him for that, showing us like hip-hop through a Christian lens, and much respect to him. I follow a lot of his videos now, even though I've probably only been following him for a month. But the longer you get to know me, the more you'll know I can binge watch somebody's content and know everything about him within like 3 weeks. So that's just the type of person I am. But yes, so that's what this channel is going to be about. I may in the future share my testimony, because I kind of feel like when you do a YouTube channel about Jesus, you'd be kind of remiss to talk about how you came to the faith. But mine is kind of, I don't feel like, you know, to give you the long and short of it, I came to faith at like 6. And so it's not too much where, you know, a lot of people have these dramatic stories of like, oh yeah, I was on crack cocaine, and I was experimenting with witchcraft, and I had demons harassing me every day, and then one day I just shouted Jesus, and it all went away. I don't have one of those dramatic stories, but I do have a testimony as far as somebody who grew up in the church, somebody who was genuine, because a lot of times people are like, well, I grew up in the church, but I didn't really know what it meant. I really knew what it meant, and I would equate myself to more of like a prodigal son, in which I got to my late teens and my early 20s, and I wanted to be as far away from church as possible. Even the fact that, like, even now, the fact that I want to preach and teach the gospel is drastically different than what my life goals were even 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, to be honest. So I did go through a period of backsliding, and when I mean backsliding, I'm not just talking about, I was living in a sinful state. Like, I literally was like, I don't think that this church thing, this Jesus thing is for me. Like, yeah, I believe that God exists, but if God exists, he is not a fan of me. And so, like, I had pretty much turned my back on God without making the hard stance of, atheism or agnosticism or anything like that. And so I can share with you how I wound up coming back to Christ, how that has affected me in so many ways, and just the good that I think it's done for not only like my spirit, but for my physical and my mental health as well. But with that said, I'm actually about to get some work done. Like I said, I'm an Uber driver in the slowest part of the year right now with the COVID going on. So I'm going to try and make some money, and it will probably take me some hours of doing so. Before that, I'm going to get this car washed out because it's not clean. At least according to, like, if you were Ubering in my car, you would definitely give me a 1-star the way this car looks right now. And I'm gonna clean out my car, I'm gonna go to the gym, and then I'm gonna spend the rest of my evening trying to get some work done. But for all that are here, just know a lot of great things are coming on this channel. I actually have a sermon that I preached earlier in this year, sometime around Halloween, that I'm gonna kind of edit up, chop up, and I'm gonna post it on here, just to see what kind of reaction it gets. And I think I'm just gonna go wherever God leads me with this. So I could be doing a couple of reaction videos, I could be going through and just speaking on current events and how I pertain it, or how I kind of observe things, what my observations are. I could just randomly kind of like post up my camera and do a Bible study and see how that works out. Just see what it looks like with, me just reading through the Word of God and just kind of showing like what I kind of look at when I'm reading. So that's about it. I don't know how to close this out other than say like, share, comment, really comment. Like I love it when you guys comment. I like to be able to talk to people in the comments. When you comment, like, leave some thoughts down. Like, it's great to hear like you're doing a great job and all that type of stuff, but I know when I comment on other people's content, I try to like actually put my thoughts down, and for the people that actually read their comments, they usually appreciate that from me as just like a commenter. So I am going to pass that along. Comment, please. On that same note, and I know I'm about to rant here, but sorry, it's my channel. On that same note, I run the social media and live streaming right now at my church, and like nothing drives me more up a wall when it's like you ask people to comment and they're just like amen, right? Like, stop doing that, church people. Like, actually like have some original thoughts. Like, if something your pastor, like if you're watching your pastor's YouTube and they say something that speaks to you, like, share that. Like, share your actual thoughts. Just don't be like, amen, I agree. Like, say why you agree. Say why you disagree. Say what life experiences you have. People care, all right? People care. If anything else, to be nosy, but like, people care. So like I said, with that said, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Good things are coming to this channel, both for the last few closing moments of this chaotic 2020 and going into what's probably going to be an even more chaotic 2021. But thank y'all for watching. God bless. I'm back, y'all.